to season 2 of the Prettiest podcast. And we are so happy to have a guest here today. We want to welcome Megan Turner. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
We are so excited to have Megan. For those of you all that do not know, Megan is a partner over at Ernst Young, and she is a graduate of the University of Tennessee. So thank you so much for being with us.
Of course.
Today, we're going to talk about the beauty of giving and why that is so beautiful, while remembering that pretty is as pretty does.
Yes, of course. So we're gonna start with a few questions that we have for you.
Okay.
And we're just gonna go on as a conversation from there. So starting with the first question, who would you say modeled what giving looks like for you?
So when I think about where giving started, I was raised in a church.
Okay.
And so just the notion of, giving to others, giving back to the church, tithing, all those things was principles that I grew up with.
Definitely.
But when I think about who I modeled, well, I guess I would say who inspired me.
Okay.
Oprah actually inspired me.
Oh,
So I grew up, I feel like
I
I'm
love
older
it.
than people think that I am, but I grew up when Oprah was on every day.
Really?
And I will never forget the episode where she gave away the cars.
Oh,
Yes.
And
yes.
she had on the little
Yes.
red two-piece, which Kim neglected to mention. I'm also a member of Delta Sigma.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, of
Incorporated.
course.
So I will never forget Oprah in her red suit, but giving away those cars. And I just remember seeing the joy and how intentional she was in terms of choosing the people that she gave those cars
Yes.
to. And I was like, man, to make that kind of impact, to be able to give to that many
Exactly.
people so freely,
Right.
I want to be able to do that.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So, is that what led you to Dancing with the Stars this spring?
Yeah.
So, you know what? Okay, I haven't seen Oprah dance, so
Okay.
I can't give her credit for that.
Okay.
My hair is kind of giving Oprah.
I
you know,
love
she
it.
had that big
I
face.
love
I love it.
Dancing with the Stars, it came from a number of places. So one,
Okay.
I'm on the board for the Urban League of Central Carolina.
Okay.
And that's a charity that I chose to benefit. And so when I decided to do this, it was an opportunity to benefit this organization that I'm passionate about. That was one of the marquee reasons.
Okay.
The second thing, also not in my bio, is I'm a Gemini.
Oh, okay.
And this is important because I am very left and right brain.
Okay.
So I'm analytical, but also creative. Very serious, but also silly.
Right.
And so this Dancing with the Stars gave me the perfect opportunity to mix something that's creative and that will
Right.
challenge me in a way that is new and different and make a difference.
Right.
So that's why I
Right.
said yes.
I love
love
that. And I mean,
Yes,
I
I love
admire
it.
you for for being brave enough to go out there, because you must be practicing how many days a week?
So I practice right now. I train 1 day a week.
Okay.
Oh,
But I
okay.
work out with my trainer 4 days a week.
Oh, my
and then I'm
goodness.
doing mobility. I'm planning to start stretching, like the
Wow.
stretch class.
Yeah.
I did bungee fitness last week, so I'm
Really?
challenging myself.
That's
my
it.
God.
Bungee fitness. Okay, bungee fitness was really fun. And so I'm
Yes.
trying to challenge myself to move my body in different ways,
Mm-hmm.
because it's one thing to do these line dances and feel like you
Yes,
have rhythm.
yes.
And I thought that was me. And when I
Right.
watched that first video playback, I really need to be dancing
Oh my God.
3 to 4 days a week. And I will ramp it up as I get closer to the show. But
Right.
I am moving my body in some way every single day.
That's
trying to be as
amazing.
fit as I've ever been. I'm ready for the stage.
Let me ask you this. Your partner is Luke? Okay,
Yes.
so what is the chemistry like between the two of you?
Yes. So, when I first met Luke, I asked him if he'd ever danced with an auntie. Because Luke is 24 years old, and he is just, this is what he does.
Yes,
This is what
yes.
he studies. This is what he went to school for.
Definitely.
And so, I was like, Luke, I'm much more seasoned. So how does that work? But what I love is that he loves the arts, and that shows. He lights up when he's showing me choreography. He's
Oh, I
patient
love
with
it.
me. He encourages me. So even though I am auntie age for
Right,
him,
right.
he makes me feel like this is a collaborative journey.
Oh, I
So
love that.
that makes it good, because listen, when I go out on that stage, it's just me and him.
Right.
Yeah.
And one of the things former dancers told me is you can't see. It's just bright lights.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
So
yeah.
it's just me and him. And so
Oh,
I think,
wow.
we've got good chemistry in terms of our collaboration and wanting to reach this goal.
That's
That
amazing.
really is.
I'm nervous though.
I'm proud of you.
Oh,
thank
You are
you.
going to be amazing. I
You
already
know,
know.
I-
I already know that. Yeah. So,
I can't wait
I
to
was
see
just
it.
hoping not to become a
can't wait to
meme.
see it.
I just don't know
Oh,
why.
no,
I feel like
no.
the internet takes everything,
It
and next thing you
does.
know, that's the
Right.
one thing. If I could just not become a meme.
No.
you have so
I
much
think
to
you'll
look
be
forward
great.
to.
Mhm.
But at the end of the day, it's going for a great cause.
That's it.
So that's what it's all about.
And
So
you
it's
all are
about-
raising money and everything.
We're
for
raising
it?
money and a lot of money.
Yeah.
I set a really big goal.
I was
Really?
going to say, last I looked, you're at 122,000. What is
Yes.
your goal?
1 million.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Well, you heard this
I
phrase
love
though.
that.
Yes.
Shoot for the moon, land in the stars.
Yes.
And people ask me, who gave you that goal? Where did it come from? And I gave myself this goal, and it was more of I wanted a really big North Star. But I also think about this notion of rallying community around purpose and using my platform for good.
Right.
And so, I've been at Ernst Young now for 16 years, and I've encountered a lot of people. I've seen a lot of things, and like, how can I use this platform
Right.
to make a difference, to help others
That's what
get
it's
to
all
where I am?
about.
Exactly.
That's
And
what
so
it's all
that's
about.
what I want to do. So we'll see,
Yeah.
how that works out. I will tell you, to date, at least 50 people have gone on this journey with me, and I'm sure there'll be many more. I've
Right.
got some weeks left. So
That's amazing.
Oh my
Yes.
gosh.
we'll see.
Yes, I still need to make my donation, so
Yeah.
I am going to do
Yes,
that.
and get your
Absolutely.
tickets, 'cause I need
That's
you
right.
guys in
Oh,
the audience.
we're
Yes,
coming.
yes.
Okay.
We're coming.
Okay.
We are definitely.
Okay.
I can't wait. Yes, yes.
Yeah.
So, how has your understanding of giving changed as you've gotten older?
I love that question because I mentioned earlier that I learned about giving through the church.
Right.
And in church, it's not an option, right? It's your obligation, it's your
That's right.
responsibility.
Exactly.
As I've gotten older, I have found that there are things that I want to opt into giving to.
Okay.
And giving my resources, giving my time,
Yes.
giving my money,
Yes.
and to places where I can actually make a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And that's very different than an obligation.
Mhm.
And
That's
so
true.
the other thing I would say is as you get older, you have more people asking you.
Yes.
And then the ability to discern whether this is where I best
Yes.
give and make a difference or not. That
Exactly.
is something as I've gotten older, I'm like,
Yeah.
this is in alignment with where I want
Right.
to make an impact, and this is something that's not.
Yeah.
And so I think that's something that comes with experience, age.
That is so important and such a good point because my husband and I at the beginning of the year decide what we're going to give to. And once we have, those commitments, it's like, okay, that's it. Like, because otherwise you end up just giving to everybody. And we live in a city where there are so many galas. It's
Yes.
something you can go to like every other
You
week.
can.
But you'll go broke, y'all, trying to give to every, even if you want to,
Yes.
But to your point, what is important to you, what, in terms of how we feel we'll give the biggest impact. So I love that.
I just
I love that.
Hearing you answer that question, it reminded me of how I met you. Which
Yeah.
is, I was looking for, talking to people in different fields and things like that, different careers. And when my dad introduced me to you, it's just like, it takes me back to that moment, like where you gave your time. Like,
Right.
we went and ate, had a nice lunch, and had a great conversation.
Yeah.
And ultimately also helped me realize that finance is not what I wanted to do.
See?
But it was a great, it was
Right.
a great learning
Yeah.
opportunity for me. So
Exactly.
It's like I see like the growing and giving and different things like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And just like they say, to whom much is given, much is required.
Exactly.
And it's so true.
That is true, which is why the exercise that you talked about, which I probably need to do, is so important because if you get so many asks, you can just find yourself giving
Oh,
to
gosh.
everybody
Everybody.
all the time.
Yeah.
And I've been in that trap.
Yeah.
I'm a little bit of a sucker when it
I
comes to
know.
giving. My boyfriend told me, he said, if I win the lottery, you're entitled to half, but I'm not going to give it to you all at once because you would give it away.
Oh, see, yeah.
Because he was like, every time I
Taking
turn
care of
around, you
others.
just.
Yeah.
But that's also my spirit. That's my love language. Gifts.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I'm a giver.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I think Focus
I
and
love that.
intentionality.
I
Working
I do
on it.
love that. And you know what? It's hard to say no to the youth,
Mm-hmm.
like the scholars and students. And when I was a school counselor,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to bring everybody home with
Yeah.
me. I would
Yes.
tell Sydney and Miles and Rocky about the students and what they're going through, and oh, I just need this, and they don't. I mean, you just want to save everybody,
Yes.
you know? So I get it. I
Mhm.
get it. Wow.
So when you think of the most meaningful thing you've given or could give that wasn't money, what comes to mind?
So it's funny to answer this question. I thought about what if I received that I cherished that wasn't money. And then when I started going down this path, it was so hard to narrow it to one thing because my first thought was, and this goes back to what you said, Sydney, was advice, perspective, what I call the cheat codes, right? So that I don't end up in a
Definitely.
career in finance
Yeah.
that I
Right.
hate, right?
That's
Because, you
right.
know, a lot of times people have a limited range of perspective.
Right.
So you can help accelerate that when people just tell you,
Exactly.
here's where the landmines are. Avoid this trap.
Right.
And so I think the advice, perspectives, one, feedback. How
Definitely.
you know when you just like, this isn't
Definitely.
for
Yes.
working well, this isn't for you.
Mhm.
I think feedback in my career, feedback in my personal life, things that made me better. But then I landed on, I think this is the one, friendship. The
Oh,
gift
wow.
of friendship.
Oh,
And
yes.
here's why I landed on it. And I thought about the spectrum of relationships.
Right.
So notice I didn't say family.
Right.
Yeah.
I didn't say romantic relationship, but I
Right.
said friendship. And my thinking on this is very similar to my thinking about giving in church.
Okay.
In that romantic relationships, like wife, husband, family, those feel obligatory because of what those
That is
vows
so true.
mean.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You opt into a friendship, not knowing if it's going to be 6 months, 6 years, 20
That's
years,
true.
whatever the case may be. But the gift of loyalty, of honesty, the things that come with a real friendship, you can't put a price on that.
No, you really
So
can't.
that's where I landed.
I
I
love
love
that.
that.
I
That's
really
really
do. And you know, they say if you have one true friend,
Yes.
that is more than your share.
That's all you need.
So you got to have at least one,
Exactly.
you know.
I love
But
that.
friendship is such a blessing. I love that too. That's a
Giving
great
and
perspective.
being a great friend. I really, I was like, what would I say?
Right.
But it was tough because the thing going back to the insights though, and even going back to, what your nonprofit does, exposure, helping accelerate, avoiding mistakes.
Right.
There's also no price on that because
Right.
you could probably think right now. I know I can think about things that people have said to you that shifted your mindset or shifted your
yeah.
direction and
Yes.
changed your life.
Right. That's
And
true.
that's one of the reasons why I have those conversations with people because I've been the beneficiary of people sharing things with me or saying one thing that sparked
Yes.
something.
Yes.
They either said, go this way or don't go that way. Do
Yeah.
this or don't do that. And those moments, there's no price that you
Right.
put on those
That's
either.
true. That
But
is
then I
so
was like,
true.
if I had those insights and no friends, so I'm going to go with the
Right.
friends.
Yeah.
I was like,
That's true.
Exactly.
so, I mean, that's how I had to rationalize it in my
that.
mind.
Yeah.
But man, there's so much more valuable than money. I think, and I'm not lost on, you need money to live.
Oh yeah.
And that's also why the work I do with the Urban League is so important to me. That work allows people to get jobs, to create better
Oh,
lives
yeah, it's
for themselves
amazing.
and their family. It's a no-brainer, and you need people to get in those situations.
Right.
But then once you get there, then what?
Yeah.
And I said to one of the other young people, look at you sitting as a young person, other young people that I had lunch with just last week, I said the irony of the grind is once you get to a certain level with money, you realize how much you don't need.
Right. Yeah.
So you climb and
Right.
and then you realize how much you don't
Right.
need. And then it's
Right.
like, well, what should
That's
I be
good.
doing with my time?
Right. Right.
And that's all, even that's a perspective.
Right.
Exactly.
And I saw him taking that in and said, he's going to go home and he's
Yeah.
going to noodle on this.
Yeah.
I love that.
That is
Planted that
amazing.
seed.
Yeah, and when I think about the beauty of giving, just like you said, it's not always money, but it's so much of your time as well because there are some people who want to give and they want to help, but they don't have the money. So it's like, okay, what are some other things that we can do? Well, you can come volunteer,
Exactly.
you know, and just, your time is so important.
And it's funny you say that, because I was even telling some of the nonprofits that I'm working with to create more opportunities for people to give their talents, because they're suffering. Like
Right.
operationally, a lot of
Right.
nonprofits don't have teams, so
That's
they can't
true.
scale. I was like, get people to volunteer their talents, and I'm not talking about coming together and asking a bunch of people for money. I'm like,
Yes.
can you operate a website?
Right.
Can you
Exactly.
challenge
Right.
the processes I have in
Yes.
place? Like, and there are people who would love to lend that,
Yeah.
because to your point, maybe financially isn't the best way
Yeah.
for them to
Yeah.
give at this time. The only other thing I would say, though, is for people to not underestimate the power of $1.
Oh, yeah.
$1, $2,
Right.
because the collective,
Right.
the power of the
Exactly.
collective to do
Yes.
things.
Yes.
Sometimes I think we get in our own ways. We're like, oh, I only got 10 to give. Give that.
Give that. Yeah.
Because if 10,000 people give $10,
That's right.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
And me on my effort, I'm over here recalculating. I'm like, all right, can 100 people give me this number?
Right.
But I think we forget
Right.
that we are powerful as a group, and giving as a group,
Yeah.
we could do
That
so
is so
much.
true.
Exactly.
That's
So
so
much.
true. I agree.
Yeah.
So, can you give us an idea of what we're going to see the night of the gala? Like how many couples?
Yes.
Are you all very competitive? What are the personalities like?
Oh my goodness. So, are we competitive? Yes. Should we be? Probably not. So it's like, oh, come together, have this great experience. You're like, no, I want to win. I want a trophy.
Right.
So I will certainly say it is a group that's competitive for a purpose. And
Right.
we
Absolutely.
we all picked our own charities, and one of the
Oh,
other
wow.
dancers picked two.
Really?
And so, yes, so we're all like, we want to do the best we can for the people we're dancing for. And so I think it's so easy to get
Okay.
competitive when
Yes.
it's like, I'm doing this for
Wow.
the Urban League. I want the Urban League to have as many dollars as they
Right.
can have.
I love that.
Let me use this form. There's 6 of us,
Okay.
and we're all paired with a dancer from the Charlotte
Right.
Ballet.
Yeah.
Okay.
Someone asked me, they're just like, so how do I vote? Are you going to be on TV? No. There's one night only. And the judges, so there's 2 ways you win. Every dollar you donate is a vote. And so that's why I tell
okay.
people $1 counts.
Oh, I got
Every
I
dollar
know
is a
that.
vote.
Okay.
And then the night of, judge's choice.
Okay.
So the judges will
they will
judge
choose.
our performance.
it.
Yes.
So what
Okay.
happens if somebody wins the donations and then somebody wins with the judges?
It's
Can
all.
that
It's
happen?
typically 2 separate winners.
Okay. Okay.
So
okay,
it's 2
okay.
separate ways
Oh,
to win 2
okay.
separate
Got it.
trophies. What hasn't happened that I'm aware of is someone's won both.
Both.
Right.
Got it.
I said I was going for
I
that.
see.
But the way my dancing is set up, guys, just give me this $1 million.
Right. Let me get this thing so I can
because
win.
I don't know
Yes.
how the dancing part is
Yes.
going to go.
Okay.
So that has not happened that I'm aware.
Okay.
But there is typically the 2 winners. The thing that is so dope about this event, to your point, there's so many galas here in Charlotte.
Right.
But this specific one, it is put on like a show.
Okay.
So there's a Taste of Charlotte open bar cocktail reception
Oh, really?
before.
Okay.
And then you go in and you sit down and watch the show. Between all of the performances, they have different intermission, the lights go down. And when they announce a new couple, all the different groups give their crew, if you will, props. So people will be waving neon sticks, or they'll have necklaces on. They turn it on when the person,
wow.
as a show of the support.
Oh,
So it is a
wow.
super high energy
Okay.
experience.
Oh, I love
I've
that.
gone twice before.
And this is
Okay.
probably the only gala I've never been to
Yeah.
in Charlotte. I don't know why we've never been.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
well, here's wonderful things I tell you. It sells out every time.
Okay.
Because it's the night theater. I think
It's
that was
not. I mean,
it's not that big.
yeah.
So
It's
maybe
kinda
1,000
small.
people.
Right.
So if you weren't looking for
I
it,
see.
once
right.
they sell out, then it kind of is like,
Exactly.
well,
Oh, I
whoever's
see.
coming is coming
Okay.
kind of thing.
Okay.
So
Okay.
another
Okay.
plug for get your tickets.
Exactly.
Get your tickets.
Right.
But it's fantastic. It really is a lot of fun.
Okay, and share the date.
So the event will be on March 7th,
Okay.
2026,
Okay.
6:30 p.m. night theater.
Okay.
Yes.
Perfect.
That's gonna be awesome.
I'm
We
so
cannot wait to
excited.
support you.
I appreciate it. I'm excited, nervous. I need to merge these 2 words together. But the thing for sure, you mentioned I raised $122,000 so
Right.
far. So my
Yes.
impact
That's amazing.
is solidified. This is the most I've ever raised. And
That is
let me tell you the other
amazing.
thing I realized. I have been raising money,
Mhm.
kid you not, for probably 20 years. I found an email in 2008 where I emailed my line sisters. The subject of the email said, "Read me, sucker."
What?
And so I opened it and it said, I was like, I had to make it that title because I know you guys are tired of me asking for money. So that means in 2008,
That is hilarious.
and it was for March of Dimes.
Oh,
But, you know, I go back sometimes and I look through my bin of t-shirts and
Uh-huh.
I've always been doing charity events. And so, you know, when you do those walks, usually you're trying to get people to donate.
Yes,
So that's
yes.
what my MO was. Doing the walks and say, hey, can you sponsor me? I'm walking X, Y, and Z.
Right.
And I
Oh,
didn't realize I have a
wow.
legacy of 20 years.
Isn't that something?
Yes.
Because I wouldn't know how to raise $100,000. Like, so have you had corporate sponsorships as well? And like, how do you raise that money?
Yeah.
What is the secret?
Yeah, so it's funny. That's probably a whole podcast, and I'm still
Right.
I'm
Okay.
still learning. No, but here's what I will tell you. Yes, some corporate sponsors. Not a lot, to be honest. Most
Okay.
of the money I've raised has been individuals.
Wow.
And if I was give
I love
anybody
that.
a tip,
Mhm.
it would be just ask.
Okay.
And I would say ask, and I'm reading this book now, Audacious by Marty McDonald. She's a huge proponent of being bold and asking.
Yeah.
I even talked to her as I was going through this campaign. Like I reached
Oh,
out,
wow.
she had a conversation with me, and she said, "Oh, $1 million, that's easy. 200 people giving 5,000." But here's
So
what's
you know
crazy.
what? That's how you look at it. Okay.
But here's what's crazy about that. I was talking to a family member, and she said, "I don't know 5 people that could give 5,000."
Oh, wow.
And I was like, that's interesting. And this goes back to the ecosystem and the platform. I said, well, let me sit down and think about people who have, and words are powerful, because she said, I don't know 5 people with disposable income. And I said, okay. And when I reflected on it, I was like, but do I know people with givable income?
Right.
And that's different.
Right.
It's very different.
Right. Right.
And so I will tell you, this conversation was probably a week ago.
Okay.
The first person I asked for $5,000 said yes.
Wow.
Wow.
The
That's
first
amazing.
person I asked said yes. And there have been people that have been leaning in ways that I could not even expect. And the only other major tip I would add if you're trying to raise big dollars is ask people for the specific dollars. Because then they have
Right.
a decision to make
That's true.
that's more simple. Like, I need 5 people to do $1,000. And they'll look at that and say, I can do it, great, or
Or
I
no.
can't, but I can do 250.
But I can get right, exactly. Tell
But
you
you've
what
given
I
them
can
something.
give.
If you just say I'm raising
Right.
money, they're like, I don't know what to do with that.
Exactly.
So you got to tell people what to do.
That is so
but
true.
people have been leaning in, and it is
Wow.
That was amazing.
exceeded my wildest dreams so far. I'm going to keep going. I know it's a very, very big, audacious goal, but
But hey, you got to dream big,
Exactly.
see
right?
what happens.
You got to.
Yeah.
So
Hey, you guys
okay.
have been easy to talk
Oh,
to.
Yeah.
Carol.
That's the goal.
I know. So we want to thank you for joining us in our second season in Beauty and Giving with Megan Turner. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned. We will have another episode in a couple of weeks. Thank you so much for coming, Megan.
Thank you for
This was
having
fun.
me.
Lots of fun.
Thank you.
And don't forget, pretty is as pretty does. Bye.
Bye.